So Katamatite Primary School asks us this question. How do you, as student leaders, keep momentum going for a positive contribution that you're implementing at school? So I assume they've got something that they want to change. That's my read of the question. And they know, or they're currently experiencing, that it's tough to keep momentum for the change or the activity. So what do you think?
Good question. I think sometimes when we think of ideas that we want to do or changes we want to make, we sometimes think that, the day that we're going to make the change, everything has to be done on that day. And so we try and make this big change, we try and make this big contribution to our school. And sometimes they'll work and sometimes it won't work. And often what happens is when we put them all on this one day, if it doesn't work, then we lose our momentum for actually trying to keep the idea going because we haven't seen any positive feedback for it. So I think a great thing that you can do when you're trying to keep this, when you're trying to implement a positive contribution, you can actually do it in little pieces. So you can have over time little goals that you have where you implement this change. You can think of maybe your big change gets split up into 5 things, and over 5 weeks you implement one part of that change.
And if you design it properly, then if one of those parts doesn't work, then 4 of them still have, and you've achieved some part of your change that you wanted to in your school compared to that one thing.
And the great thing about doing in little pieces is one of the most important things about change is evaluating. And when you evaluate something, usually you can then change other things. And so if you're doing it over time, if you're doing little things and you realize the first one doesn't work, or this idea isn't going to be implemented exactly the way you'd like to, you can evaluate it, look at it, say, how can we change this? How will it work better for our school? And then move forward from there and change it a little bit and make sure that the next ones that you implement, the next changes over that time, actually have the desired results.
So the hamburger principle, it's that anything you want to achieve is best done in little bites rather than trying to do the whole thing in one lot.
I always like how you have the ability to relate it back to food.
Absolutely.
Ronan.
You ever seen someone try and eat a whole hamburger in one bite? It becomes an absolute mess, right? Leadership's like that, bit by bit by bit, and perhaps you're able to accomplish it. Yeah.
This segment is from an episode of the Student Leadership News Podcast. To listen to the full episode, go to studentleadership.news or subscribe using your favourite podcast app.